Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pimlico Racecourse. The weather is still holding up thus far. Keith and I will keep you updated throughout this morning's show. And of course, I'll be on later on again with Callie to talk you through it as well. But Keith, first things first, lots of things going on today in terms of all the carryovers we have. Stronach 5 Friday. How are you doing? Are we feeling confident going into this?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm always confident. No. I'm confident. I think it's a really good sequence, a challenging sequence of races, whether you're going to attack the pick 5, the pick 6, however you want to go about it. But, the pool's just astronomical. The focus definitely going to be on us this afternoon. Everybody's had plenty of time to dig in, go through your PPs. No excuses. You should be ready to fire at these big carryovers.
Absolutely. And let's talk about these carryovers. Well, let's start, of course, with the fact that it is Friday. And we know on Friday we always have the Stronach 5 sequence to get going with. And it starts in our final race on the card, which is race number 9. Is leg A. Leg B, Santa Anita Park, race 3. Leg C, Golden Gate Fields, race 3. Leg D is back to Gulfstream Park for their race 8. And leg E, another race at Gulfstream, race 9. Of course, we have the All-Star ticket as well, which you can find on social media, and which I provided my picks with for Maryland Jockey Club's leg here, race 9 at Pimlico. But of course, let's talk about the record-breaking carryovers that we have on offer today in the Rainbow Pick 6 as well as the late pick 5. Massive carryovers. I know the late pick 5 is about 115 grand. There we are, 150 grand, 15 in the late pick 5. And of course, Keith, that Rainbow Pick 6 is huge.
Yeah. Pick 6 is 708,000. The pick 5 is going to be huge. I could see this getting to $500,000 today. The pot, when you've got something like that to start. Pool's just astronomical. Deal with the wind too. We're dealing with a windy set here this afternoon. But I can't wait. It's an exciting day. Not your normal Friday here at Old Hilltop.
No, a Rainbow Pick 6 starts in race 4. Late Pick 5 starts in race 5. Make sure to get your tickets in on time and check out our selections. Now, I would say on the Pimlico website, but due to a fair few of the scratches, I say be more accurate to have a look on social media.
Okay.
And of course, follow the broadcast throughout the day, and you'll find my selections as well as Keith, as well as Callie's coming up later on to hopefully pick you a couple of winners. Of course, not this Saturday, but a week plus a day from now is the final duel of the Triple Crown Belmont Stakes coming right at you. We have a watch party at Laurel Park and right here at good old Pimlico, where you can place your wagers. You can enjoy yourself, have a drink, place a bet. What's not to like, Keith?
What's not to like? You always, kind of chance to decompress a little bit from the Preakness and just sit back and enjoy it and watch from afar there for the Belmont Stakes. But I'm sure it's going to be another quality event.
Absolutely. Very much looking forward to that as well. Let's have a look at the track conditions. Fast main track, a firm turf. We are expecting rain today, so we'll keep you abreast if at any point there'll be any changes.
That's critical, no doubt, with what we've got later in the card with the pick 5 and pick 6. Certainly, we will keep you up to date with any changes. Maybe some imminent weather, giving a look, maybe updates throughout the day as kind of projected as when precipitation might get into this area.
Yeah, I looked at the weather forecast last night, and it was saying sort of towards the latter end of the afternoon, we might expect some rain. So fingers crossed that we'll be able to get through the card and have our turf racing, because as you mentioned, it is critical for our Rainbow Pick 6 and late Pick 5 that we know what we're doing and that we're able to hold these fields. So fingers crossed here that Mother Nature is going to lend us a helping hand as we'll get going here with the first race of 9 on this Friday card here at Pimlico. Of course, the first race is the start of the early Pick 5. No carryover here, but as always, 12% industry low takeout. Express bet, first bet, your wagering partners to make sure that you can get it connected as well as watch all the action from the palm of your hand. The number 6 is my top selection, and so is yours, Keith. I feel like the number 6 Distance Thunder is gonna receive a fair bit of money, is projected to be the main speed in here. Dueled last time at that claiming 12.5 level. I don't think there's any speed in this field like we saw in his last event.
No, he's facing pretty tough cookies up on the front end, and it's his race to lose. He's going to get to the front. Barring any mishap at the gate, he'll clear this field. I think he'll take him coast to coast, albeit at a very, very short price. Underneath, I'll use 57 Chevys. I've been chasing this horse, but it's got to look for some value if you're going to have a 3 to 5 on top. We've got to have something to complete the exact. This horse can settle, drop in smaller field, find its way towards the inside, and rally in for a piece. So 6, 5, 4, 1. We've got the same here. I'd say we
same
roll to
numbers
the
in
two.
it. I agree with you
Yep.
here. Let's move on to the second race on the card, which is also the start of the early pick 4. I do believe you created a ticket for us today.
I did. This is an $18 ticket. Trimmed it down a little bit in some spots to keep it affordable. So we're going to get you started. I like Bethabara for a price here in race 2. 511 will get you started in the early pick 4 in race 2. Race 3, the 2 and the 4, Charging Lion and Haynes Fever. They're going to be shorter prices in there. Race 4 with the 2, 5, and 7. 7 Fading Stars, your value play there, has plenty of speed. First time here for Bobby Leaf. Wrap it up in race 5. We've got 3 choices in there, the 2, 3, and 13. Another race loaded with speed. 5/8 on the grass may fall apart. You may want to toss in the 12 a little bit. Annabelle, man, Bill upstairs has his eyes on that one at a big price. So that's it. That's all you're going to hear from that one. I don't want to kill his price anymore. So those that are paying attention, this horse hits, go buy Bill a beer.
I like it. We'll get to race 5 in due course. I had a price play in there, but unfortunately she's not running.
Okay.
So I had to kind of have a fresh look at that race, but we'll get to there in due course. Race number 2, Fillies and Mares, 3-year-old and up, a starter optional claimer, mile and 16 on the turf. So we are expected to still get going with our turf action here. We do have a spotlight video replay here on the number 11, a girl named Jack, projected to be more forwardly placed this time around, whereas there you can see she was kind of having to weave through traffic.
Yeah, a girl named Jack was a horse they kept trying and trying. You look back on the page, wanted to get this horse onto the turf. Finally did, and worked out. Just a very good trip. Naomi was able to save ground, progress into the stretch, ease out, and just go on by. The distance is going to be the key. 5/8, now right out to the mile and a 16th. That's not easy, but she's run okay on the dirt. The main track at a route of ground, that was a mile, 1-turn mile. First quarter of a mile, first maybe 3/8 to get position is going to be the key to enhance that finish. Handled the turf beautifully there, and I think it's going to be okay on the stretch out.
Yeah, I used her on top because of that reason. She has experience going along on the main track, which we know can be very tiring. So I think stretching out on the turf, which she relished last time out, shouldn't be a problem. So I use her on top. But you use the number 5, Bethabara, as your price play. You mentioned before for Hamilton Smith. She's run decently enough on the turf, now returning to it once again after a couple of main track tries.
And was off from November to April, got the 2 sprints on the main track, but she's got some okay races that will work against this group on the turf course. So I go back to the race with the win back in August, last summer in August, beats Jenny Highway, My Candy Girl. My Candy Girl was lone speed. She didn't really have the help of a duel up front, was able to steadily advance and get it done. This horse is going to be able to save ground. There is a lot of speed in here. You've got horses like Double Fireball who wants to be forward. Maybe the 3, the 4, Mitt Mazel. I think a girl named Jack is going to be within range. So that being said, this horse at a price I've got lined at 10-1. I think you're going to get around that on her, maybe 8 or 10-1. That's your value play to finish up and to go buy the speeds in race 2.
Yeah, I use Ball Lightning underneath because of that reason you just gave me. She's a bit more of a closing style filly in comparison to some of the others that I do believe there is going to be an abundance of pace to run into for her. So I use her in my exacta. Race number 3, mile and 16 on the main track here. And Keith, you use the number 2, Charging Lion on top. So let's have a look at his last efforts where he faced a very tough Glengar, who is actually my top selection in here. And we just see them getting away there both.
Yeah, a little awkwardly to the outside, maybe a slight bobble and worked outside, but this horse just was wide every step of the way. Charging Lion, a shorter field today, is drawn to the inside. He's got enough speed to keep him in range. He's not blazing. He's not as quick as Glengar early. He's not as quick as Haynes Fever. But he's got that grinding kind of style that he's able to save ground. He's going to finish this afternoon. This trip here, the tough break and the wide trip just kind of caused him to flatten just a little bit. So I like him back in here. Haynes Fever, he's been just very consistent of late.
Yeah, no, I think Charging Lion as well as Haynes Fever. There's a fair few in here that are reopposing. I like Glengar on top, even though he is drawn further towards the outside, as you mentioned, has plenty of early ability. Charging Lion, to me, as we just saw, didn't get the best of trips last time out. The time before when he won, got the absolute ideal setup just behind the speed that day, saved ground, and then kept on going, kept on fighting, just toppled Haynes Fever by a head. So this is, this is a tricky race, I feel. There's a couple that, it depends what kind of trip you're going to get to see who comes out on top. And I'm going with a horse that has a bit of character. Glengar,
yes,
we know he is a tricky one to deal with, but is also very tough and tenacious when it comes to his running style. So I use him on top. And both of us indeed use the number 4, Haynes Fever, who hasn't done anything wrong at all in his last couple of starts.
No, he maybe gets a little bit of help with 5-card draw out as well, as does Glengar. 5-card draw was going to be part of the speed in here. He is scratch. We'll wait another day for him. But Haynes Fever consists a little bit of a tricky horse to ride. Tyus Liapestina usually rides him. He has a tendency sometimes to try to want to drift, get out. But I think he's going to stay straight. You got J.D. Acosta. He's riding great right now. So Haynes Fever, owner just off the pace, is a stayer against this group.
Absolutely. As we'll move on to race number 4. Of course, one of the key races today, as it is the start of the Rainbow Pig 6 with that very, very sizable carryover, $708,857 on offer. Now that is gonna grow. How much we might think it'll get to, Keith? We're always trying to estimate this.
Yeah, it's tricky sometimes with these Rainbow Pick 6s. Sometimes the fans are, we maybe want to wait mandatory pay. I don't know. I think today, with the time leading into it, a couple $100,000 has got to go into this wager. Maybe hedging towards $1 million. Maybe
I'm hoping for it, but I'm
not sure.
Not sure. Definitely a couple hundred.
Couple $100,000
we can get in there. Yeah. So make sure to get your tickets in order, and of course listen to Keith, and hopefully giving you all the information you need to make an informed wagering decision. Race number 4 for maidens, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds sprinting on the main track. Maiden claiming price 16 to 12.5, and I created a ticket, and it ended up being quite a narrow ticket. It was a bit larger before. We had a couple of scratches, so I ended up just kind of leaving them out and thinking, you know what, I'm going to go tight, and someone can add their own horses if they wish to do so. I go too deep in this. I use the 2 Francis Network, which is first time starter for Michael Trombetta. Now Orbis pretty decent with his 3-year-old and up versus 14% winners. And then I use the number 4 Leave 'Em Loaded for Hamilton Smith. Last 2 races have been significant improvements and career best. Just on the up and up, has plenty of speed, drawn towards the lower side of it. Of course, it depends how fast those firsters on his inside are going to get out, but I like him in that spot. Race 5, I used the 2, the 3, and the 13 on the turf here. Make note that the number 13 does draw in dominant buyer for Ben Feliciano, who comes in here off quite a lengthy break, but with the right kind of figures to be competitive. Race number 6, that's my single. It's a bit of a gutsy single. We have a couple of firsts in here, so you don't really know what you don't know, but the number 5, Wicked Hall, on her debut 3 weeks ago, was so tenacious. Tried to close into less than an ideal pace. It really didn't go that strong at all, and nearly overturned Sinetta to get that win on her first time at the track. Trained by Graham Motion, knows how to prepare these lovely young ladies. So I'm going to go with Wicked Hot as my single. I'm hoping it will pay off. Race 7, I use the 1, the 2, and the 5. And then in race 8, I use the 2 and the 4 in that spot. Of course, the number 2, Airport. Dale Bennett, most likely going to be the horse that takes all the money. Number 4, Cry No More. Had a race in between after Airport did topple him. Looked to be gearing up for something big once again. That was a career best last time out, but I'm giving a slight nod to Airport here, just perhaps being a bit more tactically placed in terms of the speed. I think its sizzling time might move forward as well. Race 9, I go 3 deep, 4, 10, and 12. My price play is the number 4, No Knock Raid. If we are on the turf, he has pace in a race that doesn't seem to have an abundance of speed. I think he's about 12 to 1. I love to include him in this spot. $21.60 is my ticket, so I think that's a sort of good structure to get you going here. Now, race number 4, Keith, you use the number 7 on top in this spot. Fading Scars for Robert Leaf Jr. Daniel Feliciano rides. I gave respect to this gelding, but I ended up not using him on my ticket. I was kind of flip-flopping around with this race.
Yeah, interesting little move. A new face here, right? Debut at Hawthorne a couple months ago. A couple turf works, trying to maybe a turf work angle back to the dirt. But this horse brought a lot of speed to the table in debut. Comes out of a triple key race. That winner came back to win an allowance race in Indiana ground with a low 60 buyer. I don't think you have to be too good to win this race. Outside speed could be very dangerous in here. Now, that track played very fast that day at Hawthorne. I looked and compared the internals, but it's matched up okay with the rest of those races, so I'm fine with that. Maybe a little upset shot here for Bobby Leaf.
Yeah, I like it. Now, I use one of the first-time starters in here, the number 2 Cranston's Network for Michael Trombetta, as I mentioned, or pretty decent with his older first-time starters, 3-year-old and up. He's 14% winners, which is better than with his 2-year-old. So it seems that if the Orbs get a little bit of time and then make their debut, they tend to run quite well. The Dam won first time out as well, so always good to see a little bit of precocity. Michael Trombetta always prepares them well, so I'm taking a shot using the 2, but I like the number 4, Leave 'em Loaded as well. For Hamilton Smith, as I mentioned when talking about the Rainbow Pick 6, has shown improvement in his last 2.
Yeah, last 2 have been good. You know, was down to the 10,000 level, woke up off a little freshening, came back to run an improved buyer again. The numbers are going in the right direction. Has enough speed to stay close. It certainly looks like nobody's going to get away too far in this group, although I hope my top selection is able to clear and relax on the lead. I don't think you can leave out Lifespan. I know he's 0 for 14. He's hit the board multiple times. Failed as the favorite last time. We have a little stat here, right, for Corrales?
I do believe we do.
Yeah, and so you can maybe depend on this horse to at least hit the exacta for you. Last 3 years on the dirt, Jose Corrales 16 for 25. 64%, 20 for 25 in the money. Maiden claiming favorites. I think this horse is going to take plenty of play this afternoon. Should be the favorite, unless that firster of Trombies gets a lot of play. There's your ROI of 288, and you know he doesn't necessarily need the lead as well. A little drop down in class here for the 5 Lifespan.
Yeah, of course I use him as well, but I am going to go against him. 0 from 14 and multiple times beaten favorite. I'm kind of banking on that happening again today, which sounds terrible, but that's what I'm going with. I'm going to go with the first-time starter, and I liked Hammy's horse in this spot as well. As we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the rest of the card.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Ground on her inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 on top. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back to Pimlico Racecourse. We're on race number 5 of a 9 race card featured by the late pick 5 sequence as well as the Rainbow Pick 6. And late pick 5 starts right here. 115 grand already in the pot, and that is going to be much, much higher. We're starting off the sequence on the turf. 5 furlongs sprinting for the fillies, claiming 16 to 12.5, nominated to Lifetime. And Keith, both you and I ended up going with the filly that drew in from the AE list, the number 13 dominant buyer for Ben Feliciano. First time in a new barn for her, and a bit of a layoff, but her debut score, albeit that was at the maiden 10 level, was solid enough to put her right in contention here, I feel.
It was, and I love the comment from a chart caller down at Colonial last summer, quote-unquote, rocketed to the lead. So bringing that kind of speed to the table, was 3 in front in the blink of an eye. Third place finisher came back to win 2 straight at Mountaineer. So clear sailing from the outside, very fast, but so is the 3 Cindy's Prayer. There's going to be, I think, a battle up front. I'm hoping this 13 can clear and maybe force the hand of the 3 to kind of rate and try to stalk and make a move into it. But Feliciano, he's done well with his turf sprinters over the years. This horse is interesting. You know, was down training at McCutcheon Training Center back in March. Some good works. Comes up, I guess, that sends up to Benny. It looks like we got a new owner from that race as well down at Colonial Downs. But drawing in, you've got to pay attention on days like this. These horses, the bigger fields, and they pop in there. This is one that could just jump right in off the AEs and surprise you.
Oh, you do not want to leave a horse like this out and then get caught out not having them in your exotic bets. I use the number 3, Cindy's Prayer, as you mentioned. This will be her first start for Cahill Lynch. She's been away from track for nearly 170 days. I like her low draw. She has a lot of speed, as you highlighted. She'll go straight forward from that lower draw, just hoping that she's not going to back up like she has done in the past sometimes.
Yeah, and you're looking here, if you're seeing the abundance of speed, so who's your closer? Like I commented, the 12 could be a blow-up. Adabel had trouble last time. You know, maybe throw that horse underneath. The 2 as built, not you're looking at turf breeding. It's not super strong, but it might just be enough against this group. She's got the ability, I think, to sit just off of it. She did it in some of her dirt races, sit and make a move into it. She'll just be laying there lurking, I think, behind the speeds, Naomi, make a move into it. I think she's going to be in that 3-7 to 2 range. So the 8's another one from way back that could possibly close. And even the 11, Rain Secret, I'm going to toss in there for Trombetta. A Reclaim. I was wondering, I said, why would he go back and take this horse? And maybe he's kind of, the angle was get back to the turf course.
Yeah.
He's done okay on these reclaims. Second Dam did top at a 79 on the turf. So you go back a little bit further, dig. There's some turf pedigree here for the 11 Rain Secret.
Terrific information there. I was wondering why you were using the 11. I ended up going with the number 6, looking for Candy underneath. She has that kind of stalking ability as well, that tactical. What I've seen thus far sprinting on the turf here at Pimlico, even if they haven't been on the turf before or not in a while, I want them to have shown plenty of speed on the main track. So they'll come running straight from the gates, and hopefully they'll keep on going over that bouncy turf that we have here at Pimlico. Race number 6 will continue here. Maiden 40 claimer, maiden 42 35 for the fillies and mares 3, 4, and 5-year-old. 6 furlong the sprinting distance once again. And this was my single, the number 5, Wicked Hot. Let's have a look at her debut event, because she was behind the pace, and what happened there is, as you can see, they're starting to kind of bunch up. They didn't go fast at all for that level, for the distance. The internals, the first quarter, yes, the internals, they slowed them right down, and she had to start kind of finding a way around all of these, and a lot of them hadn't done that much at the front yet, but she kept on finding.
That's the key. Well prepped, certainly was able to save ground behind that. They backed up a little bit in front of her. She was able to navigate it for clear sail. Never really lost momentum. Straight as a string here on a correct lead and closing to just miss. And that final time was faster than 16,000 multiple winning boys.
Ooh.
That's good enough for me, okay? And a big effort just to miss. Here's a homebred by our Ridgely boys, Randy and Gary Ridgely. These guys breed some very nice horses, and this one, boom. I don't know what that was.
It's a bit stormy out here at present.
Yeah,
I think we just might have lost the door.
Usually we have squirrels, okay? Now we're gonna have chairs flying around, but that's okay. But anyhow, the infamous squirrel video. It all comes back to that.
I do remember that. I have seen that.
Wicked Hot, though, certainly off of that debut. Very encouraging. She's got the ability to close into it, and there's not a lot of speed signed on in this race from the other ones that have run. So maybe she's going to be a little bit closer this afternoon with that experience under her belt.
It's kind of trying to gauge how the first-time starters are going to do on her inside. Are they going to be fast from the gate and give her plenty to run at, or are they going to be good enough to outlast Wicked Hall, who will come with a strong finish? I used the number 4 originally underneath. Now, Constitutions are 21% winners with his 2-year-old first. So I'm thinking, oh, great, that will translate to his older horses as well. Only 11% with his 3-year-old and up versus. So that was a little bit of a slight take back. But this is a second runner for a dam that was also trained by Trombetta. So always like when they kind of know the family a little bit, and just decent enough works going in. So I use the 4 originalist and then the number 1 on the rail, No Chance Given underneath. How do you like the number 1, No Chance Given? Claudio Gonzalez, first off the claim?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to use the 2-back race. Good enough for me. I don't know what happened last time. A little trouble upper stretch, but to be that far back, they went quick early. I think you're going to see back to the front. Let's be aggressive. Let's get that position. And Claudio off the claim and a move up in class. I like this angle. I'm not leaving out the 1, No Chance Given.
Always very strong when he makes those type of moves, and definitely Angel Cruz will certainly send her from that inside gate. As we move on to the 7th race on the card, nickel claiming conditions here for the fillies and mares, actually, excuse me. 6 furlong sprinting on the main track once again. And we do have a video spotlight on the horse that we ended up both using on top. There were a couple of scratches here, and I ended up using her on top as well. She is the projected pace, but look at her going wide right there.
Yeah, that's the key. Blue Sky Venezuela, the 5-horse this afternoon, the 9-horse that day. We're going back, to the 22nd of April. And that was one of the key days, Naomi. April 22nd, 23rd, inside was golden for the most part. 4 wide, even drifts almost to about 5 wide before she gets straight in here. She makes a move into the leader. Silent Fluidity, though, on that rest in the class drop, was able to get the best of the speed. She had a beautiful trip as well, was able to ride the rail almost like a harness race, angle out and go by. But she's trying. Blue Sky Venezuela is still trying. She was just on the worst part of the racetrack that day. The blinkers go on. We see Gorham with these claimers at this lower level. He's had success year in and year out. Yeah, she poses a serious pace threat against this group. She's not usually one you're going to think is going to be right up on the engine. But here today, she has to be, I would think.
I feel like the way this field shaped up, she is going to be the dominant pace, and that most likely will be her tactics. I used the number 1 Instinctive on the rail. I definitely think that Charlie Marquez is going to try to be handily placed with this 5-year-old mare. She ran it last time out, and she can be quite game late. But she's only sealed the deal once in her last 5 starts at this level, so perhaps a touch exposed.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's kind of faced a little bit of a reunion here between her and Blue Sky Venezuela. She has the ability to lay close as well. She kept trying. You see the short comment last time. She was willing on the off track. Back to a fast track. 3 back, she runs a 56. A 56 is going to be going to have that target number to win this race, I would think. So the ability is there. The 2, Peshin Last, I think is going to be your favorite. She's off time, but she does drop from the open nickel, where she's been highly competitive, to the condition here. That's always a positive. And here's a little stat I dug up. This was kind of crazy. If she goes off the favorite, all right, Mike Duralis, 9 for 9 with favorites, running for less than 10,000 over the last couple years.
Wow. Oh,
How
we
about
need
that?
to make
ROI
notes of this.
382.
9 from 9 when she goes off as the favorite
when he's
for
got,
Mikey Duralis.
Yeah, when Duralis is favorites at the under 10,000. So pretty strong. I had to take a little second look at that one. But
I definitely will as well.
Yes.
As we move on to the 8th race on the card here, 6 furlong the distance. First level optional claim here. Now this is a fun race. Now we do have a significant scratch of the number 1 Palatial Times, because I was trying to figure out if he might benefit from the fact that Cry No More has a lot of speed in here. It's Sizzling Time has a fair bit of speed. I end up using the number 2 Airport on top because of that scenario that I kind of just laid out. I'm worried that perhaps Cry No More is going to get pressure from its Sizzling Time on his outside. Loved what he did last time out, Cry No More. And that's actually the race we're looking back is 2 starts back, where Airport and Cry No More. You can see Airport kind of coming up with the run. Cry No More has the jump on it, but has also been working harder for it up front already.
Yeah, this was on that off track, right? April the 25th. A very fast horse enforced up on the front end. And Cry No More was able to show the ability to rate and move into that quick pace, and his game to the wire, explosive move around the turn there with Airport. Didn't come away that cleanly from the inside post, was able to kind of make up 3 or 4 lengths in a flash from the 3/8 pole to the quarter, just kind of eyed the leaders at the 8th pole. Straight and true, right on by, and aggressively spotted right back here. You want him? Looks like an improving 3-year-old for 62.5. It'd be interesting to see if anybody goes in for this one. He's run against the right kind, no sense.
Absolutely.
The quality fields that he's faced, and that was an impressive return from November to April. I like the little break. Give him about a month to get back on his game.
Yeah, because Cry No More actually came back a week later to then run a career best, and that was 22 days ago as well. Do we prefer a horse coming in fresh, or do we give Cry No More? I see you've given Cry No More the slight nod regardless.
Yeah. Well, Cry No More ran that big number on a fast track, and he's had a couple weeks now. He was a horse I liked on his debut. I just kind of I think he's improving. I'm not terribly concerned. I think a little bit more under his belt might give him a slight edge. We'll see, but it's going to be a really good horse race from about the 3/16 pole home.
Yeah, are we boxing the 2 and the 4 in this spot? It looks like it.
Everybody is, but I mean, it's Sizzling Time is that horse that could really mess things up, and Cry No More has to come away cleanly. I was talking to Meeting Printer about that. Sometimes you think, oh, there's these two, they're going to be the speeds. What happens if one of them gets left and the other one's loose? And it's Sizzling Time at a price, shortening up in distance could carry it further.
I love the fact that it's Sizzling Time is getting back to this 6 furlong, which I think is just much more of his game in comparison to the 7 furlong muddy surface he ran on last time, and you know, showed plenty of speed but backed up, wasn't enjoying himself. I think this works out really well for him. Perhaps you can get a bit of a price on him underneath as well. Race number 9, final race on the cards here. We're hoping we're still going to be on the turf because it's a mile on the turf here. I use the number 12 on top, which most likely going to take a fair few of everyone's money. That is Gearhead for trainer Michael Trombetta. Julian Pimentel writes, to me, quite a significant drop in class, and looking at the way he's performed in his last 3 starts, has the speed figures to basically best his entire field if he just turns up to that level.
He does. He's got the numbers. You just glance, and he's going to be in that 8 to 5 range, maybe even lower than that when it's all said and done. But he does not have a lot of speed. He's been beaten if you go back for a 16,000 condition. You go 4 races back. So I think that he's vulnerable in this spot at such a short price. I was encouraged by the debut, the turf debut of my man Pots and Pans.
You relish that.
Yeah, tactical speed. He ran well. He's a stayer in this group. I like the mile distance for him. Bolivar's a user, and I like your price play as well. No knock rate at a mile. He's worth a toss in at a price. We've seen Ferris Sound score with a couple of prices.
Yeah, I feel like he's the one that might bring a fair bit of pace in a race that doesn't seem to have an out-and-out projected leader here. If you go back 3 starts back, now that was at Colonial Downs, but that was a win from a close to the pace stalking effort, 75 Buyer there, and then kind of took over and won by 3 lengths. So if he, freshened up coming in here, if he does anything similar at a price, I think he's very much worth including.
I don't think the flow is going to be crazy. I think it's going to be comfortable enough for him to just kind of get that position, if it's on or just off the lead, to stay around. So he's got races back on his page. He could be a fresh, different horse, a new horse right now, and be a major player at probably a double-digit price.
Absolutely. So worth including for sure if you're hoping to take out that Rainbow Pick 6 or late Pick 5. That was the final race on the card. Let's go to lightning round. Let's have a look at the jockey standings right there. JD Acosta and Charlie Marquez tied for the lead with 16 wins apiece, followed closely by Carol Cedino with 14.
Yeah, and we'll see with Carol, with Delaware starting up. She's been a mainstay up there. How will that affect her in the standings? But JD Acosta, I mean, the guy just worked so hard, rode a lot at Charlestown, has been able to come down here and now make an imprint. Look at this. Leading the pack. That's not something you always see here, but I mean, he tries. You want a rider that's aggressive, strong. You see him come out here, you would never want to wrestle with him, I can tell you that. It's like taking on a fire hydrant or something. You got no chance. But JD puts the horses in the races and can get them to finish. Sheldon as well, lurking. Charlie Marquez, he's steady as he comes. I mean, this is going to be a good horse race down to the wire.
It absolutely will be. Xavier Perez not on the top of the leaders book, but he is nearing a milestone of 1,000 career victories, currently on 995. So let the countdown begin. 5 more to go. We, of course, wish him the best of luck. Phenomenal achievement once he does get there. As for the trainers' standings, a couple of familiar faces here. Claudio Gonzalez leads the pack with 11 wins at 17% win percentage. But Kieran McGee with 9 wins has been getting his horse into winners enclosure at 32% winners percent. Now that is strong. Staggering
percentage for Kieran. I mean, when he gets hot, he stays hot for quite some time. Ness is there. It's going to, I guess, be a numbers game. I was leaning towards Kieran at the beginning. Claudio now has surpassed him. He has the numbers. I made my early play on Kieran. I got to stay with my bet.
I mean, Claudio indeed has the numbers, very strong and aggressive with his claimers as well. First off the claim and placing them at levels that he can get the win. Let's have a look at what's ahead, what's coming up here at Pimlico. The meet has been extended to June the 27th, so will remain here at historic Pimlico, whilst the main track at Laurel Park is being renovated. So we'll keep you up to date with everything that has been continuing to develop. And of course, as we've been mentioning, the late pick 5, the Rainbow Pick 6, plenty of opportunities, and you even get the chance to place a $10 free bet for our late pick 5 starting in race 5 here. Go to first.com/bet/promotions, use first bet, use express bet. So easy, those apps, aren't they?
And you're getting that for what's going to be in this pot this afternoon. You got to be crazy if you don't take advantage of that offer. Man.
Certainly worth placing a wager with your free $10 on the late pick 5 here at Pimlico. I mean, it's worth a shot. Check out our selections, and I'll put them on social media as well, and then have a look yourself. A couple of fun fields coming up. The quality is there for a 9-race card. We wish everyone the best of luck.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you've had time. No excuses. Hopefully somebody takes this thing down. I mean, a tremendous pulls on both of them. The pick 6, the late pick 5. We're going to keep you up to date on the weather. I know Naomi will. I'll be up there charting the races. But let's get through this card, and it looks like a good one.
It will indeed. And Dave Rodman coming up with scratches and changes next.
Good luck.